Yeah, really cleaning up your next door neighbor.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Jeff Jenkins and Eric Klayman here again with our Facebook Live presentation, which is generally weekly, but sometimes it's been bi-weekly lately. Today we're going to talk about different kinds of debt and what happens in a bankruptcy with different types of debt you might have. Eric?
Right, Jeff. Our clients call us, our prospective clients call us. People call us with questions all the time. And the questions center around debt. This is what I owe. How can you help me? And Jeff, we can help. Now, there's certain debts that, of course, the bankruptcy code, due to public policy reasons, we can't help. If it's a major criminal fine, the bankruptcy code is limited as to what we can do. But there's other debts, almost every other kind of debt, we can help to some degree or another based upon the two main facts or relief available in a bankruptcy case. Number one, the automatic stay, which stops collection actions. And number two, the right to obtain a discharge. A discharge means you don't owe the creditor any more money, even though you won't necessarily pay them back in full or at all. Now, Jeff, let me just throw one out. I got a call today. Someone has a payday loan, okay? So basically, their money is going to come right out of their checking account as it's direct deposited. And as a result, they're going to have trouble paying their utilities this week. If a client calls us and has a payday loan, can a bankruptcy help?
Payday loan is basically just an unsecured debt. There's no, a lender for a payday loan doesn't have any collateral of yours to secure the debt. So it's an unsecured debt. If they're taking the money out of your bank account, just like other people might be doing, that's something that you authorized. You did that voluntarily. It's your bank account, and you can change that election whenever you want. If you don't want it coming out of your bank account, you tell your bank, stop this. Don't let them take money out of my account anymore. I mean, it was voluntary to put it in. It's voluntary to take it out. The bank has to listen to you. And so not only can you stop the person from taking it out of your bank account, but then if you do a bankruptcy, we can just get rid of it. It can be erased.
Right. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to your bank, we can talk to your bank for you. We can tell you how to do that. And we can stop the garnishment. Remember, that's the first relief a bankruptcy does, stop the money from coming out of your bank account. And number two, we can put you on the road to a discharge. A discharge means you won't owe them any more money, even though you won't necessarily pay them back. Jeff, you then leaned towards the other type of bank account money that comes out that we don't like. And we hear about all the time. People call us. In fact, we were both talking to the person, or you were listening yesterday at like 5 o'clock when the client called, and they had a bank account levy. And it was like $1,400. Well, I don't want to file bankruptcy over $1,400, but I owe this creditor $20,000, and that's the only thing I had in my bank. So they just took the $1,400, but I can't have this continue. And Jeff, the client was surprised that we were able to offer them more than just relief as to the $20,000, because what about that money that was frozen in the bank account?
Yeah, well, it depends, of course, where that money is at the time we file a bankruptcy. If they just took it out of a person's account, it's generally going to go to a sergeant at arms for the superior court, and they're the ones that are going to then pass it on to the creditor. So if it's still in the bank and just frozen, or if the sergeant at arms has it, we can definitely get it back for you once we file a bankruptcy, because it's your money. It hasn't transferred hands yet, really. It hasn't gone to the creditor yet, so we can certainly get it back for you. And even if it did go to the creditor, it's possible that based on the amount, it could be seen as a preference. If a creditor gets paid more than $600 within 90 days of a bankruptcy filing, we can undo that transaction. So Eric's is giving me an example of $1,400. That's certainly over $600, and even if it got into the hands of the creditor, but that didn't appear to be the case here. But if it did, then we could say it was a preference and get it back that way.
Yeah, we also have clients who Look, talking to a bankruptcy attorney, we get it as one of the last bits of relief. But sometimes they've tried to solve things on their own and they have a car. So they give a creditor, typically in Delaware, right? But New Jersey has better laws than this.
Well, yes.
But Delaware, it's like the Wild West when it comes to automobile or vehicle title loans. So they see us and they owe $4,000 on a title loan at what, 299% interest?
Yeah, the interest rate is astronomical and unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
200% literally is what we see. And it's huge. So
what can we do if someone calls us like that, Jeff?
well, we have to pay them. They're a secured creditor, but we don't have to pay their interest rate. The court can change that. And we can also pay them the value of the vehicle. If more is owed on the car than what it's worth, we need only pay them the value of the vehicle at a reasonable interest rate, like 5%, not 205%, just 5%. And we've done that a lot. And I don't know if there's any other states right in this area that do these title loans. Delaware certainly does. And I mean, that kind of interest is illegal in New Jersey. Okay, New Jersey wouldn't put up with it. But we've never had these people chase us into bankruptcy court and say, well, we think the value you put on the vehicle is too low, or we don't like 5%, we want more, or something like that. They're afraid to come here. They're afraid to stand in a bankruptcy court in front of the bankruptcy judge and tell them how they want their 200% interest on this title loan.
In other words, if you have a title loan for an automobile and you call us, we can make that. We'll get rid of all your other debt. You'll keep the car and we'll make the payment much, much more affordable. What about a buy here, pay here situation where sometimes we see you can't even calculate the interest because it's very hard to figure out exactly what the person's paying. But a lot of times they're paying $299 bi-weekly. It's not 300. That would be a lot bi-weekly. It's always $299 bi-weekly. Can we do anything to a buy here, pay here car loan situation?
Sure. We can do the same thing. Buy here, pay here loan that we could do with any car loan. And the buy here, pay here thing, usually you see people whose credit isn't great going to purchase that kind of a vehicle. They have good credit, you never go to a buy here, pay here place. You go to a dealership or something like that where you get a decent interest rate. But we could do similar things to that we talked about with the title loan. We need only if they've had the car for more than 2.5 years. It's 910 days.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Then we can pay the value of the vehicle through the bankruptcy with a reasonable interest rate. Again, 5% is the judges consider pretty reasonable. And it can be, so it's paid in, we can pay it in full through the trustee. And when we have somebody come in and you see they've got a buy here, pay here loan, you know the interest rate's going to be high. So generally, we always we talk to them about how we can reduce the interest rate, and it's going to save them a lot of money in the long run. So almost always we end up paying a vehicle like that through the bankruptcy, and it would just be part of their trustee payment. And they wouldn't pay the buy here, pay here place directly anymore. The trustee would send the money as they pay it monthly.
And you made a good point, Jeff. If someone has a buy here, pay here car loan, they probably have financial difficulty in order to push them into that kind of debt. So what we're trying to do when we talk to our clients is get a holistic solution. We're saving you a little bit of money on the car loan, for sure. We're making sure the car won't be repossessed, for sure. But what else are we doing? Is we're getting rid of all your other debts. Generally, for medium income people without a lot of equity in your house, generally, we can get rid of all the credit cards, all the medical bills, all the payday loans, and they don't have to be paid at all. So we work on a plan to pay back the car. But the car is more affordable for two reasons. Number one, we're reducing the payment, as Jeff described, by the interest rate and sometimes to the value. Number two, the car's more affordable because we got rid of all your other debt. So yeah, just at that point, you just focus on paying your rent or mortgage, your utilities, and your car insurance, and you make this new payment to a trustee. All those other bills, the people call you, the people write to you, they're completely stopped. You don't have to write those little checks anymore or press a button on your phone to pay them. You're done. You're getting that fresh start, which Congress intended when it wrote the bankruptcy code. And Jeff, let's talk about that. I said, no matter what, you pretty much have to resume your payments to rent or your mortgage. We've talked about this a lot, but if you're behind with your rent in New Jersey, we can help you up to a point. So you have to call us soon, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Don't just say yes on me.
Okay.
You're the expert.
Our governor, Governor Murphy, has decided that people can't be evicted until the end of this year. That moratorium on evictions kept changing dates all along. Every month he pushed it back another month, and so now it's pushed back to a year. However, the Supreme Court stopped landlord-tenant trials for residential tenants, and they're saying that they'll probably resume those sometime late in the summer. They did resume landlord-tenant court for commercial properties, vacant properties, perhaps if a property is unsafe or there's some danger to public safety somehow. But regular landlord-tenant things aren't happening right now. But if they do that at the end of the summer, but you can't be evicted till the end of the year, it's quite possible that if you don't deal with that particular situation, you're going to have the judge is going to sign an order saying that the creditor can have possession of the property, and they're going to be all poised as soon as the evictions can take place to evict you. And there's nothing we can do to stop that in a bankruptcy proceeding, because the way the bankruptcy code reads right now, we have to file the bankruptcy before there's a judgment for possession entered. And once that happens, and I'm describing to you what may happen in New Jersey, then we can't do anything, except if you don't want to live there anymore and you want to move someplace else, we can get rid of the rent that wasn't paid.
Right. We can discharge the debt. Mm-hmm. There's less of the automatic stay to stop the eviction if you wait until there's a judgment for possession. But remember, we've emphasized today the two benefits of the two realities, how you're helped in a bankruptcy filing by two things: the automatic stay, which stops collection action. Now, if you wait until after there's a judgment for possession, we can't stop it. But the second thing is a discharge. Discharge means you don't owe the creditor any more money. And by filing the bankruptcy at any time, we can get rid of that old landlord debt. So we've talked about cars, we've talked about evictions a little bit.
Let me mention one more thing about landlord-tenant cases. There's nothing that's been done to stop landlords from filing a complaint, even in a residential context. And a lot of them have been filed. I don't even know what the number is. Last April, so we're talking about more than a year ago, there were like 40,000 that hadn't been resolved in New Jersey. And that was just that was the buildup over a couple months. I have no idea what it might be now. 100,000 or more, something like that. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, you were going to say that if you receive one of those summons and complaints.
Yeah, that's right. If
I'm reading your script right there.
Right. If your landlord did file an action in landlord-tenant court, you got something saying that he did. You got a copy of the complaint. But what you didn't get probably is a summons saying that you've got to go to court on a certain date. If the Supreme Court opens up landlord-tenant court again, you're going to, a whole bunch of these things are going to issue from landlord-tenant court, putting dates on a landlord-tenant trial. And as soon as you see that, if you want to stay there, you'll have to pay the back rent, or you can file a bankruptcy. You can see a bankruptcy attorney, you can see us, and we can file a bankruptcy for you and stop the eviction.
Right. So we've talked about cars a lot. We talked about people whose bank accounts have levied. We talked about people who are being evicted and how we can help all of those people. Jeff, there's other kind of debts people see us about. I was just looking at your list, and now I'm going to need your help. There we go. Utilities. That's what I wanted to say. Again, as Jeff pointed out earlier, if you do a buy here, pay here situation, you probably have some other debt problems. Similarly, if you're behind with your electric and gas, people usually know to pay that. So if you can't pay that, you're having a financial crunch. We can help you. Right now, they aren't turning the lights off or turning the heat off, but they will soon.
Yeah, I mean, the date now is the end of the year. That's the latest word from the governor. He's giving people till the end of the year to try to work things out with the utility companies. And the amount of utility arrearage is significant. In 2020, the payments that weren't made on utilities increased by 89% in Pennsylvania, anyway. And the amount of money that's owed over in Pennsylvania is $709 million. In New Jersey, it's probably a little bit less, but it's still the same situation. And so you want to do something before they shut your utilities off. Although if they do, you can still come to see us. We can file a bankruptcy and get them turned back on for you.
So you're saying if we file bankruptcy before they're shut off, we can get rid of that debt for you.
Yes, we can.
If you come to see us after it's shut off, we can get rid of that debt for you and get your utilities turned back on without paying it back.
Right. That's right. And the utility companies, what they do is they'll open a different account for you. You'll have a different account number. And so the old account, if we're paying nothing to unsecured creditors, that's going to get erased in the bankruptcy proceeding. All you pay for with a new account would be service that you used after the bankruptcy was filed. So if you're having utility problems, and a lot of people are, there's a lot of things that we can do to help you out. And the utility companies, I don't know what kind of arrangements they're going to make with people, but it's going to, if you stop paying your utilities when COVID started, you've got more than a year's worth of payments that have been missed, a year and a quarter now, really. And the amount could be pretty high.
And what is pretty high? Pretty high is $1 more than you can afford, really. It's whatever it is, it's relative to you. And of course, we're attorneys, and when you speak to us, it's in confidence. We're not judgmental. We're not going to say, wow, that you owe that much money, or you only owe that much money, or boy, you should be able to, you made this mistake or you made that mistake. Look, we've all made mistakes. We're here to find solutions. Jeff, I like telling the story that I tell to clients oftentimes, which is seeing you and me is like driving a car. And in the front of a car is a large dashboard. And or a large windshield, pardon me, large dashboard too, but that has nothing to do with my story. A large windshield. And why the windshield is very large is because you can see the future and how we can help you. And then there's a little tiny rear view mirror to see the mistakes we've all made in the back. We don't care about your mistakes. We care about your windshield. We're going to have you looking good in the future and a path to financial security. And people come in here crying when they see us, and they walk out. I can't say they're all smiling, but we try to give every client a path to financial security, which gives you the opportunity to sleep well. It helps you with socialization. It helps your health, mental and physical. And you walk out of this office feeling much better. Mm-hmm. And it's very rewarding.
Absolutely. And all our people here at the firm are the same, are like that, or I wouldn't have hired them. They're kind people, they're empathetic, they're not going to be judgmental with you ever. So, because it's what we do. And good people have money problems sometimes. It's not necessarily somebody's fault. It could be just the way things worked out. I mean, this pandemic has, and business closures and so on and so on has devastated a lot of people. It's not the people's fault. It's the way things worked out with the government and their little rules about what you have to do and what you can and can't do. But there's help there.
There really is. All right, if you're having debt problems, right now they're going to show you the phone number on the bottom, okay? Look at that. Give us a call and tell the person on the phone, it's probably going to be Robert, Sylvia, or Miranda, that you watched us today on Facebook. We're going to send you Jeff's free book and talk to you about how we can help you, all at no charge. So give us a call. We're here to help.
Absolutely. I guess we're good for today then. So I don't know what we'll do next week or not, but we may, or
We may.
Yeah.
If we do,
If we do, we'll see you at 2:00 next Thursday. So until then, stay safe and God bless.